Hey everybody, Extrasify here. Welcome back to another gold making video. And in today's video, I want to go over my top 10 tips for new and current gold makers. Now, even if you are a seasoned veteran in the gold making community, maybe you'll find a tip or two that is useful for you, but this is mainly towards newer gold makers looking to make some serious cash. One more thing I want to add before we get into the video is that this list is in no particular order, but it's rather a compilation of a bunch of useful tips. Now with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the first one. Alright, in the first tip on this list, I would like to talk about having an alt army. Now what does that mean? Well, for example, I have this 55 Demon Hunter, and the only thing I do with this character is I park him at a rare spawn that has a chance to drop a pet. So let me log in and show you what that means. So there is actually a rare spawn here that drops a pet worth about 20,000 gold. The name is Garnia on the Timeless Isle. So basically I'll just log in a couple times a day and check if the rare is up. If so, I'll kill it. Unfortunately, it's actually dead right now, but that is what I mean by having an alt army, so that I'm not traveling all the way out here just for the chance of a rare spawn. And the more characters you have, obviously the more farms that you can park a character at. I have a video on this called the top 10 5-minute gold farms alt army, and I'll put that in the description of this video for you guys. So with that being said, let's move on to the next step. Alright, and for the second tip of this list, I want to talk about how you can get into a daily routine when it comes to farming gold. So when getting into a daily routine, one of the first things I do is log into a few characters that are parked in various spots. As you can see, I keep this druid here to kill Doomwalker. Doomwalker has a chance of dropping some great Transmog, as you can see there. Then I'll just instantly log back out and go over to a couple more characters. Then once I log out of this character, I will log to my Timeless Isle character, kill the rare spawn there for the chance of the pet, then do the Netherstorm vendor flipping with the items from the vendor there. Then once I do that, I will log into my hunter who's parked in front of the Pit of Saron, and I'll do 10 very quick runs of the Pit of Saron before doing my daily auctions for the morning. So guys, once I finish some runs of the Pit of Saron, I'll then send over any items that I got worth selling, then go on to my bank alt character and obviously relist my auctions. Now I do that in the morning. I set the timer for 12-hour listings, and then I will repost them later at night before I go to bed, just to have the best chance of sales and to keep my auctions up at all times. Then once relisting all of my auctions, that takes almost an hour, as I have over 1,500 pieces of Transmog, and that is the main way I make sales. If you guys have watched this channel, you guys probably know that. Then once listing that, I will then log on to either my dungeon farming druid or my dual gathering druid. So the next tip I want to talk about is don't be afraid to reinvest your sales into more materials or more crafting items. Now this is mainly for crafting, but it can also be, say, for flipping items, things like that, flipping markets. So for example, I'm on my blacksmithing and leatherworking crafting toon, and as you can see, I'm buying a whole bunch of old world materials for various prices and crafting transmog items with that. Basically, whenever I sell a piece of transmog, I always want to recraft it and have it up on the auction house. Now, let me quickly show you guys my bank with all of my materials that I have. I have absolutely tons of materials.
Hey there.
So yeah, as you can see, I just keep tons of materials. I'm sorry, it's very unorganized. But yeah, basically keep a ton of materials in the bank. If I don't have the certain materials, I will instantly buy them and throw them in the guild vault. But yeah, this was years of building up the items that I have. I have virtually every recipe for blacksmithing and for leatherworking. I've done tons of old world reputations, and I always want to make sure that I have the items on the auction house. So if I don't have them on the auction house, I will definitely be buying the items and posting them. So with that being said, do not be afraid to reinvest your sales into getting more items that will give you more gold in the long run. So the next thing I want to talk about, guys, is consistency, whether that means constantly relisting all of your items each and every day, even though you don't really feel like posting the item sometimes. Sometimes you just don't want to be bothered with it because it takes a long time. But I really, really stress you guys to try and stay on top of it as much as possible. Obviously, the more you post, the more you will sell items, and it's just really important to stay consistent, stay posting every single day. And if that means stay consistent in terms of farming, then same thing there. It's really, really important to fall into a habit to make long-term gold, as believe me, you will be sticking to your routines, sticking to markets that work. So make sure to stick to your consistency as well for those farms each and every single day in order to maximize your gold profits. Next up on the list is for all my transmog farmers out there, and that is to don't be discouraged by transmog sales. Now, even if you're on a full pop realm like me, Transmog will still take months to sell for certain pieces, so don't get discouraged. As you can see, I have just under 1,500 auctions, probably about a good 90% of them being Transmog pieces, and as you can see in my mailbox, it was a light day. Granted, I didn't get to undercut scan, but we have 23,000 gold. Some people would be happy with that. I'm not really that happy with it, but in general, that's how the transmog market is. Some days you wake up to 100,000 gold in sales, and some days you might wake up to 10,000. I mean, it's just very, very RNG in terms of the transmog market. And I get a ton of questions from people asking, why can't I sell transmog fast? I have hundreds of pieces. I can't seem to move them. What's going on? Well, to be honest, transmog is one of the easiest markets to get into, so there are a ton of people farming transmog. So that is why I emphasize saying have at least 1,500 to 2,000 transmog listings at all times, because basically the more pieces of gear that you have, the higher chance you have of selling it. So just stick with it. Make sure that you're posting every day. Stay with that consistency like I talked about earlier on this list, and I promise you guys will see sales. And this next tip on the list, now it might be a little bit of a common knowledge for some people, but this might be for the newer players. I highly, highly recommend making a bank alt and a bank guild. Now, if you don't know what a bank alt is, it's basically a low-level character that you just keep by an auction house and a mailbox, sending all of your items you would like to sell onto that character. And the main point of this character is to post all of the items, collect all of the sales, things like that. Now, why would you do that? Well, sometimes if you're farming and you just want to stay out in the world farming and doing other things, you can easily just mail off the items to a different character and then continue doing what you're doing. Then just log over to this character and post everything. It's just easier and it makes everything more organized, as you know all of your auctions are on one specific character and not spread out throughout all of your characters. And then for the point of a guild bank, mainly just to store items that you don't want to have on the auction house. As you can see, I have a total of 6 of these minions of Grumpus, but obviously you don't want to flood the auction house, so I just keep the rest of them in my bank and have one on the auction house. Same thing with this toy here. I have 8 of them. I'm obviously not going to list 8 of them on the auction house, as that will drive down the price, but I'll just keep one on the auction house and keep the rest in my bank here. Now, a lot of people use the guild bank for storing way more items than I have, but a lot of my items I have listed already. So the guild bank is just another good way of storing a mass quantity of items if you guys have that you don't really want to throw all on the auction house at once. So next on the list we have farm what you enjoy. Now this is a huge one. A lot of people will just do what earns them a solid gold per hour, which is totally fine, and I get that. But sometimes it can be absolutely mind-numbing to do some farms if you're just really not in the mood. to farm for like materials. So, I love farming for RNG. Obviously, I am a transmog farmer. It makes sense. So, I would rather farm Shadowfang Keep sometimes than go farm for materials for 15 or 20,000 gold in an hour. Will I probably be super unlucky and not get anything worth decent value in Shadowfang Keep in an hour of farming? Probably, because Shadowfang Keep is super RNG, so I'm probably not going to get much. But in my opinion, sometimes it's just good to take a break, farm something that's fun rather than maximizing your gold per hour, and just keep you motivated to earn gold in the future. If you spend all your time farming for materials just for the quick gold, it can really decrease your motivation for making gold if you don't personally enjoy it. So it's good to definitely change up your farms and do what you enjoy. Real quickly, before we get into the rest of this video, if you enjoy my content and want to support the channel, make sure that you are subscribed, like the video, and check out some of my other gold making content. I upload a few videos every single week, and we are really growing lately. I really appreciate your guys' support. So if you want to support the channel, make sure you're subscribed, and why not check out some of my other gold making videos. Alright, the next talking point I want to highlight is that there is no best gold per hour. Now, there are a ton of YouTube channels that use this like, oh, this is the best gold per hour spot, blah 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 blah. And honestly, guys, there is no best gold per hour. Obviously, your realm prices will differentiate on items, and even if there is a farm that is guaranteed to give you 50 to 100,000 gold an hour, obviously everyone would do it and drive the prices down significantly. There are a bunch of farms that are great and vary, but there is no the best farm, because if there was, obviously everyone would start doing it and the prices of the items would drop significantly. So please don't think, oh, I need to find the number one gold farm, as it really doesn't exist, and it's more about doing a variety of farms and combining markets in order to maximize your gold sales. Alright, the next talking point I want to talk about is, what are your goals for gold making? Now, I break that into two terms. We have the short gold making, and the long term gold making. Now, obviously, I am a long term gold maker, as that's how my auction house is set up. But what I mean by short term gold making is, just trying to make enough for a WoW token each month so that you don't have to pay for a subscription. I totally get that. If you don't enjoy gold farming for the fun of it and you just, want to have some gold for that or for some other things, totally understand that. You're going to probably want to focus more on fast selling items such as materials or nice crafted items, maybe current expansion crafted things, rather than doing some long term things such as setting up your crafting transmog character for old world transmog crafts and things like farming for transmog and stuff like that. You probably don't want to bother too much doing that, as you don't really want to be waiting and posting every day for months for a certain item to sell. There is no right or wrong here. Obviously, everyone enjoys the game different, as this is a video game after all. So if you don't enjoy farming transmog, I totally understand that. Don't do that for fun. But if you're just wanting to earn a WoW token, maybe just do a few hours of mining and herbalism, or some fishing, or something like that to make some easy gold that will fund your WoW token. So the last thing I want to talk about today is to make sure to vary your markets. Now, what do I mean by that? Obviously, the more items you have, the more markets you cover, the more sales that you're going to have every single day. If you solely farm only transmog, you may wake up to 100 gold in sales or 100,000 gold in sales. It's too RNG. So what I like to do is focus with transmog. It's obviously transmog is my main market. It's how I get the majority of my gold. But then I also like to focus on crafted transmog. Once that is good, I will look at making some crafted mounts if I have some of the materials. And then on top of that, I will do some material farming to sort of supplement the gold income. That way, if I get a low day of sales talking about transmog, at least I'll have, a few thousand in materials, depending on how much I farm, of course. But it all adds together, and obviously, the more markets you're covering, the more sales you're going to have. So just make sure to cover as many markets as you can. Alright guys, so that is my list for the top 10 tips for new and current gold makers. I hope this video has helped you guys, even if you are a seasoned veteran when it comes to gold making. Hopefully you guys picked up some useful tip. And aside from that, let me know if you have any other useful tips in the comments below. Obviously, people can enjoy and learn more from the comments as well, so if you have any other tips, make sure to leave them in the comments below. And aside from that, thank you very much for watching today's video. Good luck in your auction house sales, and I'll see you guys in the next gold making video.